Good morning, Raider Time 9, and welcome back to your latest edition of Raider Time. It's that time of year again where your school counselors get in front of you and talk about the registration process for next year. So, over the course of the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to walk you guys through the registration process, how to find the registration guide on the website, how to actually functionally request your courses for next year, request your courses, your alternates, and save them so you're all set and ready to go for your course request for next year by the end of these next 3 days in Raider Time. So I'm going to ask Mr. Enzer to share his screen, and then I'm going to walk everyone through how to get to the registration guide. And I'm going to show you some things about the registration guide and then pass it off to my fellow wonderful counselors here. So the first thing you're going to do is go to northfieldschools.org. You're on the website here. Under the schools tab up top, you're going to want to go to Northfield High School. That's where we all go to school. So you can click Northfield High School, go down and under Northfield High School, find the student support tab there on the left. Click the student support tab. Scroll about halfway down past your wonderful counselors to where it says course registration and planning for 2025 and 2026. Click that, scroll a little ways down, and hit that nice blue-green button right there that says Course Registration Guide 25 and 26. Click that window and it pops open a brand new, freshly minted registration guide for this upcoming school year, 2025-26. So I'm going to walk you through some of the highlights in this registration guide. First and foremost, we have a lovely sectioned out table of contents for you. If you're looking for a specific subject area or a specific class, reference the table of contents at the front and go directly to the page that the class you're looking for is listed on. The other thing I want to point out here is everything that's bolded with the word new is exactly what it says it is. It's a new course offering for this upcoming school year. So if you're potentially interested in one of the new course offerings for the upcoming school year, you can find them under new. You'll also notice the table of contents is sectioned out by subject area. So we have world languages, the different elective areas, your core classes. They're all, yes, exactly. They're all sectioned out by subject area. You scroll down, that's the table of contents. This next page is the Northfield High School profile. I'd like to highlight this because this is what ends up being sent with your transcripts off to colleges when you reach the point during your senior year where you begin to apply to colleges. It includes all of our advanced course offerings as well as our academic performances from previous years. And I think one of the coolest parts of the profile is it highlights the post-secondary plans for the previous graduating class. So in this one, you see the class of 2024 had 295 graduates, broken down by what they decided to do percentage-wise, and then if they decided to go off to a four-year college or a two-year college, the number of students who decided to attend where. The other piece I want to talk about super quickly is the graduation requirements that we have, as well as our course add drop policy. There is a course add drop policy at the beginning of this guide. So make sure you're referencing that when you're considering how many or what classes to register for. If you're sure you want to, if you're wondering what class you want to take and you're not sure, make sure you're referencing that add drop policy because that outlines when you can and can't change classes. And this part of the year is important in terms of when we're building out schedules for next year, we build it based on what students register for. So please make sure you know what you want to take when you're requesting your courses. Grad requirements. We try to make sure we get this in front of everybody many times throughout your 4 years at Northfield High School, and we did it at the beginning of the year. Your graduation requirements are what Mr. Ensrud is circling with his cursor there. 16 and a half required credits in those specific areas, and then 6.5 elective credits. So you need that 23 to graduate broken down in those specific areas right there. And we set up the graduation requirements to get you thinking about life beyond high school and get you to the end of the 4 years and wanting to reach that threshold of graduation. But we also want you to think about life beyond high school. So with that in mind, I'll pass it off to Ms. Rasmussen to talk about some life beyond high school.
Thank you, Mr. Turnquist. Hello, future 10th graders. In this registration guide, I want you to spend some time looking at these pages as well. So moving into 10th grade, you still have a lot of those core courses that you need to make sure you're registering for, that part of that 23. But as you're doing that, I want you to think about what your plan could look like after high school. You don't want to shut any doors before you even get there. So there are courses or requirements that colleges, technical schools, four-year colleges, even the military might require or recommend that aren't needed for high school. So this page does a great job laying that out for you. For example, world language. To graduate high school, you'll see that it's not required. It would be an elective for you to take. But some four-year colleges will require that you have taken 2 years of the same foreign language use, let's say. So you want to make sure to plan that out. And this page outlines some of that for you. So in the guide, be sure to take some time and look at this. Also, think about career and your pathway and what you're thinking as you plan like electives. You can use your Naviance account. You connect with your counselor. We are going to be available, especially these next few days for you. If you're wanting to play some D1 or D2 sports, what does that look like? What do you need to be taking? So lots of information here on these pages. It also lays out all our academic supports and some other education programs we have here for you. So that's in here. And some other things to think about. In this guide, we lay out the dual credit opportunities. As 10th graders, you are going to start having options to take a class that could potentially give you dual credit, high school credit and college credit by taking the same course. So there are some AP courses that are going to now be available. There are other ways to receive dual credit, earn or work toward dual credit, and it's all laid out here, concurrent enrollment. We have a senior honors program for when you're a senior, and then PSEO, post-secondary enrollment options. This is available to 10th graders, and there's eligibility requirements for that. A lot of the information is laid out here for you, and we will have an information session during Flex on these options on February 24th, I believe. Maybe Mr. Ensrud knows that for sure. That'll be during Flex, so be listening to the announcements if you are interested in learning more about that as you make a 3-year plan. So we're doing registration for you in 10th grade, but maybe you want to map out 11th and 12th as well. So I will pass it to Mr. Ensrud now to continue.
That's right. Hey, everybody, I'm Mr. Ensrud, one of the other counselors here that is along for the ride today as we try and take you through this first day of what is technically review. But remember, the last time you did it, you were sitting in an 8th grade classroom. So that might seem like a long time ago as we help you guys get prepared for 10th grade experiences. One quick follow-up to what Ms. Rasmussen said. Number one, she's spot on. On February 24th, we're going to do some PSEO info. We also have a session that night at conferences. We will put in front of you as you move through Northfield High School a little more summarized version of those different ways of earning credit at Northfield High School, including straight on staying at the high school, but all these different ways to potentially earn high school and college credit simultaneously. So there's more to come on that. We just kind of give a little flavor of it to you guys because there are only so many opportunities moving into 10th grade, and those opportunities expand and grow as you get older. All right, so we're diving back into this registration guide. The first section after the introductory information is all our graduation required course information. And really what I want to show you, the reason we have this up and in front of you is to encourage you to go in and find what you need. Specifically, as you work through required areas like the arts requirement, this page is unique in that we made a kind of a shopping list approach to the different classes at NHS that count towards the arts requirement. You can find more information about any and all of these arts required courses in different areas of interest later on in the guide, and I'll show you that. Once we get into English, you'll start seeing a pattern with the rest of the guide. And that pattern initially includes kind of a table of what it might look like at Northfield High School as you move through, whether it's a regular path or an advanced path. And then this is where kind of the really important details lie in the registration guide. Every single class we offer at Northfield High School has a course description. You're not going to need to read all of them as you go into 10th grade, but if you're trying to decide between should I stick with English 10 or am I thinking about moving into advanced English 10, it might be wise to take a closer look, right? And there's your English info. Then as you move through English, you can see in making a 3-year plan some of the future options you might have in front of you and see how they tie together. Once you get through the English section, the next required section is math. We're pretty excited this year because there's a brand new flowchart. It's a lot cleaner, easier to take a look at and understand. At the same time, your math teachers are going to cover this information. We're not going to take your time right now to get into the weeds and nitty-gritty details of which math class is it you're supposed to be signing up for. That's going to happen in conversation with your math teacher, and I'm sure they're going to help lead you through that in the coming days. Again, though, there are descriptions of all the things as far as the different courses in math. What's different this year in the guide with math is they've removed most of the grade levels with their course descriptions. They're really stressing the importance of moving on to the appropriate next level and moving through the requirements in the scope and sequence in a way that best fits your skills and your abilities. After the math section is the Phy Ed and Health. Friendly reminder on this page for you going into 10th grade, you have to take a semester of health next year. It's a graduation requirement, and we embed that in grade 10. If you did not or are not taking a Foundations of Phy Ed class this year, remember to request that for next year because you need to be half done with your Phy Ed requirement next year. And then if you're already done with Foundations and want to take care of the second half of your Phy Ed credit, here's where the rest of those descriptions exist. And like Mr. Turnquist was talking about earlier, as you navigate through these descriptions, we've also highlighted those things that are new along the way if you want to check those out. Beyond math turns into the science options and pathways. Like Ms. Rasmussen was saying, next year there's an AP Bio option, primarily for students who are doing that FAPS experience right now. Otherwise, it's a regular bio approach for you next year, but that's a grad required course. So we want you in one level of bio or the other. And then you can see what else is coming in science. And the social studies tables is confusing as all get out. You guys are on the front end of the transition. So really all you need to know moving towards 10th grade is you're going to take a 1 semester human geography, or you're going to take a full year of AP human geography. That's your other AP option in 10th grade. So you can read up on similarities and differences. We've tried to identify that's for the class of 2028. So take advantage of that info. If you are a student who is on an IEP, there are some class descriptions that you may be interested in, or your case manager may have been speaking with you about already. And then we get into all our world language stuff, which is that space in between. Like we know you don't have to have a world language to graduate from Northfield High School. Like Ms. Rasmussen said, you might need it in order to be accepted to a college of your future choosing. So we've got it all laid out in that section. And then the next chunk is all about areas of interest based in career pathways. So the stuff that turns into like the rest of your life after you finish high school and or college, organized in that fashion and categorized in that fashion. And we try and tie those interest areas to what types of jobs might exist out there. And then the same pattern starts to develop is, hey, in performing visual and media arts, here's our intro level stuff. Here is everything in our music department. And then you start moving into intermediate, which typically means there's going to be a prerequisite of some kind involved, followed by all these course descriptions. So the pattern will remain consistent throughout the rest of the guide as far as what you're looking at, which should help you find what you're looking for, especially if you use that table of contents. Business and culinary are under a similar career area but we tried to kind of turn them into two semi-pathways within it so that you can see business offerings and a new approach to some of our culinary offerings. Check with Chef Zenk if you have questions on that. All kinds of intro and intermediate level business classes as well. Beyond that, our ag foods, natural resources, and tech ed, again, set up similarly. You can see what grade levels can take what. You can see a new offering along the way. All the things through health science. Health science is a little different because it represents quite a few different departments in our building, but all with that same interest area around it. Maybe I want to do something in a health science career pathway. Human services, a lot of education specific or psychology specific course offerings that you can see as you scroll through. Again, a few new things along the way. Notice what grade levels are eligible for each of those new options. And then science and technology at the end has a handful of some different offerings that as a 10th grader, you have access to. And that's my final thought as I get to the end of the guide is you will see in the next document we go to that you have access to some more stuff as a 10th grader. Before I toss it over to Ms. Lippens, we go back to that webpage we were on by backing out of the Reg Guide. And if you'll notice below, the class of 2027 and 28 has your own downloaded set of instructions and registration steps, how to do the process that Ms. Lippens is going to show you, course planning materials that you can use to relive your current experience, start talking about what's coming all the way through the time that you graduate to make sure you've got your full list, and then matching with what you see in the guide, a listing of all the classes that will come in handy as Ms. Lippens talks about how to enter your requests in Skyward. This is a PDF file that you guys are probably going to want to put into Notability so you can make some notes on and make it your own. If you're a print preferred person, print it out on your own. We'll get some print copies in our office for you if you want. And then if you are someone who loves to ask questions, scroll all the way to the bottom of this thing. There's a lot of questions that you might ask that someone else has asked, and we're trying to help you kind of understand in advance. And if you don't see the info you need there, remember your Raider Time teacher is there for you. They'll tell you where we're going to be stationed out in the hallway the next couple of days to help answer questions. With that, I'm going to give it over to Ms. Lippens so that she can take you through the how do I do this stuff in Skyward. Ms. Lippens, have at it.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Ms. Lippens. I'm excited to take you on the registration journey. So as Mr. Ensrud was saying, it's really important that you look at the course request registration steps, especially the pre-planning piece right there. It's important that you know what you want to take before you start registering for your classes. Make sure you discuss what your plan would look like with maybe your teachers, your Raider Time teacher, consult with your parents. And then, of course, we are here to help you as well. So I would advise you to make an appointment with your counselor if you need help planning for your classes. So our emails are listed on this form. You can make an appointment through Ms. Knutson. You can email us or stop by, and if we're available, we would love to help you. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to log in. Okay, so here is what your screen is going to look like. So you're going to log into Skyward. Once you're there, you'll see your schedule. You're going to go right here to the top where it says Request Courses for 2025-2026. Click on it. And then this is where you get to request your class. So as Mr. Ensrud said on that document, you'll see the course requests, and then you'll see the course number. That's really important because that is how you're going to choose the classes. So as sophomores, you're going to pick health. So I'm going to add, you just really need to add the first two numbers. So health would be 1, 2. I'm going to search for it. Here's a list of classes. I see health there. All I'm going to do is click to the right. And then in the middle here, you'll see add course. You're going to click add course. Let's see.
Because our example student is potentially a current student who's taken health already and won't let you select a class that you've already taken, which is kind of slick.
So let's try a different one. Biology. That's going to be a requirement for you to take next year, which starts with 7-7. Okay, biology. Again, I'm going to click on it. Add course. Oh, maybe because.
This student probably took biology also.
No, if you've already taken a class, do not select to register for that. Again, that's a good example of that.
Skyward's playing defense.
So let's try physics.
There you go.
I see physics here. I'm going to click on it there. Add course. And there it is. Yay. So now you've registered for one class. Now I'm going to try registering for an elective class. So let's see. I like to take photos. I'm going to register for photography. So that's 21. Start here. Scroll down until you find the class. Here it is, photography. Now I'm going to add the course. And there you see you have photography. So that's how you're going to request your classes. It's really important that you know how many credits you need to register for. Okay, so you need to register for either 3 or 4 classes. With a grand total at the top, it's going to say 6 or 7. So 3 or 4 semesters. So 6 or 7 classes. Make sure your credit says 6 to 7, and then you're going to know you are set. You can have a study hall each semester if you want to, or you can do 1 semester of a study hall and 1 semester of an elective class, or you can do a full year elective class or choose 2 elective classes. So that the next step for you would be to enter all of the classes you need. Once you get to 6 or 7, you're going to make sure you request an alternate. So you're going to go to the top, click request alternate, and then you're going to choose some classes you wouldn't mind taking if the classes you've chosen are full. This is really important because if the classes are full or are no longer offered in the summer, we're going to go through your course requests. And if you don't have enough credits, we will look at your alternates at that point. You're going to make sure you want to pick your alternates so we don't have to pick them for you. Okay, I don't like picking alternates for you because half the time you probably don't want to take that class. So make sure you're choosing your alternates. So I'm going to choose lifeguarding as an alternate. I think that sounds fun. Whoops, that'll tell me a little bit about it. You're going to click to the right. Again, I'm going to click add course. And then it'll say a 1 at the top. That means it's my first choice alternate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click another class. I want to see what this strength, agility, quickness is all about. So I'm going to pick that one. Click add course again. And then there's my second alternate. So if I get to thinking, oh, I don't really want to take lifeguarding, I want that strength class as my first alternate, you can go back in, that's fine. And you're just going to click the arrow there and it's going to move it to the top. So now my first alternate is strength, agility, quickness, and my second is lifeguard certification. Okay, so once you get your 6 or 7 classes picked out, your 3 alternates, then you are all done.
And you picked really good examples, Miss Lippens, because Phy Ed classes, we often need alternates, and art classes, we often need alternates because there are only so many sections of those. So those were good ones as far as categories where you might want to pay attention.
Perfect. Awesome. And so when you are done choosing your courses, they're going to automatically save. Your last step would be just to exit out. Let me see if I can move my screen to see that part. Oh, there it is. Okay. So just the X will turn red and you just click it and you are done. Congratulations. You have registered for your classes once you get to that point. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Good work, everybody.